fondly call you is funny. Yes. And my dad knew Funny. They went to school here years apart, but lived in the area. So, welcome, Mrs. Forgery.
Good morning, and thank you for inviting us to be with you and share the memories of our years here at Holy Family. Now, I wasn't expecting such a big audience, and there were a few little photos here, and you probably can't see much of them, but you can have a look afterwards. Now, when the parish started in 1926, the school opened in 1929, and I came to school here in 1932. The first classes were down in the building which is the office now, was our church, and on the southern side there was a closed-in veranda, and that was the first classroom there, and there is a photo of that at the top of the page there, and you can have a look afterwards because I'm sure you can't see it from where you're sitting.
Some photocopies and load them up and have those as copies for the school, if that's all right.
Yes, certainly. This little booklet was put out in 1986, which was the Diamond Jubilee of the parish, and there's a lot of interesting facts and photos in it. And I'll just hold up another photo and then dispense with the book. At the top there is an old building down behind the hotel near the station at Indooroopilly, and that was called Stamford Hall. Now, the sisters were wonderful people, and they taught us, and they also helped us with music and singing and dancing, and we'd have concerts every year. Now, before the parish church opened, Mass was celebrated in Stamford Hall, and then when the school was opened, our school concerts were held there. Now, after I graduated from the veranda downstairs, we came up into this building where you're sitting today, and there were verandas here and a big room in the centre, and 3 classes across where you're sitting. They would have been 4, 5 and 6, and then there was that little room there, and that was year 7. So that's enough about buildings, because I really want to talk about the Brigidine sisters. They were wonderful people, and everybody loved them, and they were kind friends to all. My first teacher was Mother Ignatius, and she was from Ireland, and most of our teachers were from Ireland, and in those days it was a long journey out on a ship, no airways, and also there wasn't much money, and so the sisters came here to teach the children without much hope of ever getting back to their homeland or seeing their families again. So they were really wonderful. And then there was another sister, Sister Borgia, and Sister, we called them Mother in that era. So Mother Ignatius and Mother Borgia looked after the sacristy in the church, and looked after the sanctuary and kept it beautiful for our Lord there. And then there was Mother Canis, Mother Finbar, Mother Jared, who taught me in year 7, which was the last year of primary school. And then Mother Anthony. Most of these sisters were from Ireland, but one or two were from Australia. And Mother Anthony taught music, and she was a wonderful teacher of Irish dancing. So we often had Irish dancers in the concerts. So they taught by example, the sisters, as well as teaching us verbally. They taught us by their example, and they had a great love for Jesus in the Mass, where he's present to us in his life and teaching, his death and resurrection. And they encouraged us to love him and to love his Holy Mother, Mary, and to visit him in the church and pray there. So they were a wonderful influence on our lives. And I guess I have said enough, because the others have to tell you their memories. So I'd like to say a big thank you to God for his blessings on my life, for all the people who've helped me, including my family and teachers and the priests of the parish, and for you all for listening and having us here today. And we ask God's blessing on you and your families and on all. And thank you.
That was wonderful. Norma, who would like to go next?
I'm 1939, so I've hello to all you lovely children. I started in 1939. I had two big sisters, and they brought me down to the school. And we were down in the playground, and when the bell rang, they had to come up to the big school, which was up here. So I went home. I thought I didn't live far from school, so I just got home. And I stayed there till little lunch, or you might call it morning tea. But one of my sisters came and got me and brought me back. So I didn't mind that. I stayed for the rest of the day. Well, then after that, I think I would have done the same thing the next day. But dear old Mother Borgia, who you mentioned, was coming across to the church to take the children who were receiving their first Holy Communion that year in for instruction. So she just took me by the hand and led me into the church, and I sat beside her while she gave me this. And then she took me into the classroom after that was finished. So that was okay. So that way I got used to it, because I had no idea what school was like. We didn't have any preschool, introduction. So after that we used to spend 2 years in the prep classes. We had prep 1 and prep 2, and prep 3 and prep 4. And then we went into grade 1, which was a big school. By then I think I was about 7 and a half by the time I got there. And that was quite interesting, but I really got to like it, even though my first day I wasn't very impressed. But it was quite good and I enjoyed it. And in 1941, we were selected as the school to lead the Corpus Christi procession, which was held once a year, and that was held at Bungie College. And we had to go and practice. We were dressed in lovely long white dresses, carrying baskets with rose petals, and we could strew them in front of the Blessed Sacrament carried by the Archbishop. So I have a photo of that in the paper. It's not very clear, but it gives you an idea of what it was like. So that was a very big privilege for us. And so that was 1941, and then I went to all the classes in this area. They were opposite, mostly 2 together, weren't they? You'd have grade 1 and 2 together, 3 and 4, 5 and 6. And as Bunny said, grade 7 was in the room here at the end. And Mother Gerard was the teacher for that. I think I had 2 principals, Mother Lawrence, from the education department sent an inspector out to look at all the classes, and we were all on our best behaviour, sitting up and wondering what on earth he was going to ask us, much trepidation. But we always got a very good report. We'd ask random questions in each class, and then the school got very good reports every year in the education department. I'll let you talk about 4 years. Oh yes, well, during the war, I think it would have been about 1942, would have been when the war was getting closer to Australia. We had trenches dug down in the lower playground, and they were used as air raid shelters for us. And we would have practice time. There'd be a siren. It used to be all around the whole district. A siren would sound, and everybody had to go. We had to go in orderly fashion, of course, the children. We went 2 by 2 down into the trenches and went in there and waited until the all clear was given. And so that was as close as we got to the war. Is that all? Oh yes, well, they were the little bags we used to take with us. And we had these over our shoulder, and we had a peg, you know, a peg. I think that was to put in your mouth and so you wouldn't bite your tongue if there was an explosion or anything. And a bottle of cold water. Our rosary beads, of course, were most important. What else have we got in here? I never had one of those. Didn't you? I had a peg. Well, you had a peg. I didn't have a little bag. Oh, yes, we had a little bag. Oh, biscuit and a lot. That's for the sugar. Oh, for the sugar. That's right, I think we did, yes. Yes. Always had our rosary beads with us. Yes, and we used to do that. And then when we also old there was we would get up out of the benches and walk back to our pasture. So that was our part of the war at that time. So what are we up to next? Where the trenches were? Yes, down in the bottom playground. We used to call that the boys' playground. And you would have been there. Oh, I remember the trenches. Oh, you did, yes. Yes.
There's the big lemon tree there, then.
Oh,
we
yes.
call it the love tree.
Oh, we always have those little trees with those seeds that fall down. Yes.
So the trenches were in the ground, sort of on
The whole
around the lemon
playground.
tree there.
Actually, where your open area is down there,
Oh, where the fake grass is, the below was where trenches were to get down in case there was bombs dropped during the
Yes.
time.
Well, at least siren would on at 11 o'clock every day, and you have to run out fast and down around the church.
Oh, and another thing we used to have was the Angelus every day. We'd say the Angelus, the bell would ring at 12 o'clock, and we'd all stop and pray. And the boys used to love to be the ones who would go down and ring the Angelus bell. They knew how many times to ring it before you to prayer. And that was quite a big thing. A lot of it was around our religion. It was the mainstay of it. Is that about all? My 3 sisters, my brother started here, but then he went to another school. But my 3 sisters have gone they're very happy kids. I really got to love school. My first day, not like it, I really loved it. And loved the nuns. We became very good friends. So I hope you all enjoy school as much as I did.
Thank you.
my mum and dad, and we lived in the house across the street. And I used to have a bedroom, a chest of drawers under a window. And every day I used to get on that chest of drawers and dangle my legs out the window to look at all the children across the road and think, oh, I wish I was there. But the nuns were very vigilant, and they used to think that I was just sitting on the window ledge, and they used to send someone across to tell my mother to take me down from the window because I was going to fall out. So I knew what school would be like when I started, and I think it was Mother Ignatius who was in charge of the prep school. But the first day was not as nice as I thought. I came across, my mother brought me across the street, and all of a sudden Mother Ignatius was taking my hand and taking me away from my mother. And I said, oh no, I've got a headache. And Mother Ignatius said, oh, you'll be all right, and took me into school. Now I just wonder how many of you had a headache on your first day at school. Or did you really like coming the first time? The second day was better. I didn't have a headache on the second day. So I think the experience was very similar to what the other ladies have been saying. Because we lived across the road, we got quite a lot of jobs from the sisters. And in the end, we used to learn to play at the back of the house instead of the front. Because you'd hear this clap, 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 and a little nun would beckon us over. Would you go down to the laundry and get the altar cloth, please? Or would you go to the baker and bring us perhaps some bread? So we got quite a lot of jobs just because we lived across the road. But that was fine because it really meant that the nuns were just other human beings with all the needs that we had, and we got to know them quite well. They were really very friendly to us. Yes, we did the prep school, and then we came up here. Because I lived across the road, we used to go home for our sandwiches for lunch, and I really felt that I missed out on some of the friendships. And so when I was about in grade 4, I think I persuaded my mother to make me sandwiches so that I could stay with all the other girls and boys and eat my lunch with them. What else could I tell you? Oh, we used to play basketball. Where just outside this hall, was a basketball court. It's netball now, isn't it, for girls? And we used to enter into competitions with other schools around, and that was good fun. I don't think we ever won the round of competitions, but we did our best. And we also had tennis lessons, and we also had what were called deportment lessons. Now they were meant to show us how to walk and behave as, well, for me, as a young lady. And there was a school called the Graham Burrows School of Deportment. And every second Friday they would come and teach us how to walk and hold a book on our head and how to dance and really, I suppose, to be a young lady. I don't know whether they managed it with me, but I did try hard. What else did we have? Oh, we also had an elderly man who used to come called Major, can you remember him? Captain Burns. Kathy Burns used to come and teach us how to march and really important drill, what we call drill physical culture. And it was all aimed to make us good, strong young children and to walk sedately and hold ourselves properly. I don't think you have anything like that now, do you? No? Oh, it was good fun. And then, of course, we did the scholarship, and then I, along with the others went across to the Richard Ian Secondary School. Also, I used to have piano lessons. One of the nuns, Mother Raymond, taught piano lessons. And my grandmother had given me a piano, so I used to go and have piano lessons. I used to think I was quite good. I think I improved as time went on. There were other girls in the school who were much better than I. What else do you think of?
Did you go to Mass once a week or once a day? Or
I went to Mass once a week, except on the first Friday of every month we went to Mass. For a little while I went as a boarder at Bridgetine because my parents had to go away, and I went as a boarder, and then we used to go every day to Mass. Yes, we had the Angelus. I think we used to sing a hymn at the beginning. We all assembled outside the school and we would sing a hymn. We did. Yeah. And the national anthem, not the national anthem, Advance Australia, was it? Oh, okay. Do you sing Advance Australia Fair? Yes. Oh, every day?
Monday.
Oh, right. Oh, well, we had it up in every day. So I learned that song. And I do remember the war years when we used to go and sit in the trench with a peg in our mouth. And never ever, I'm very resentful, never ever had a bag of tricks.
And so the peg, what did you do with the peg? Just put it in your mouth and bite on it?
Yeah, the little round, the wooden one,
Yes.
round head, bite on it so you didn't bite your tongue.
Keep a ball in it.
Yes.
So did you wear that peg around your neck every day?
Yes.
It was in your bag.
Oh.
Oh.
And you carried it over your shoulder. Your bag was over your shoulder. And you wore your baptist gear and your name. And you were equivalent. It was only 3 of the war years.
Right.
I went to primary school together to 9, or they just so
Yes.
Thank you, Rosemary. And
Okay, my name is Ellen Shield. I was called Ellie at school. I don't know whether it was my 7 brothers who decided it was best to call me Ellie. The 9 of our family started school here. I was the 6th one to come along, with several brothers and a sister. The school's quite different to what it was then, because this was our classroom. The steps went down to where the windows are. There were 2 sides. I think the boys went one side, the girls went the other side. I don't know why. In the corner there was the room where we put our bags. This room was cordoned off. But when you were naughty, you had to go and sit in the corner over there. There were no stairs going down here at the time. The desks were all lined up with just a small gap in between. And the teachers, 4 or 5 teachers, would teach us all. And you would be listening in with blackboards up everywhere and hoping you were listening to the right teacher. So with 2 classes, say 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, we had to listen very carefully or we got it wrong. At lunchtime, we would all dive down the back here and have our lunch where your classrooms are today. The church is now the office. That was our church there. At the back where the actual office is was the confessional. Do you know what a confessional is? You can tell me later. We all had to line up there once a week, so we knew that corner very well. And then I can remember so well confirmation. And I had been in hospital for quite a few weeks, in the Mater Hospital in Brisbane here, and it was 1945, and I hadn't had the preparation for my confirmation, because in those days, if you went to school, if you went to hospital, you weren't allowed to have any schooling. If you go to hospital today, you have teachers there. So when I came out of hospital and had to go down into the church with everyone else to form a confirmation, we had a big man called Archbishop Dewey, and he was a very, very big man, and I remember being frightened of him, thinking, oh, he's going to ask me a question, I won't know it. But my brother said to me, don't worry, I'll tell you if you don't know it. So we were told if we didn't know the answer, we wouldn't be confirmed. There were other things that happened here. I can remember a concert we were preparing for on this stage. There was a family called the McCoskers, and one of the boys, Tony, we were doing the grandfather's clock, and Tony was the grandfather. And I can remember it as if it was right now. Grandfather's clock was in the corner and he sang there. And I brought quite a few photos around of our concerts, what we went to. We dressed up, and Mrs. Graf, Norma's mother, very kindly made all our costumes. The other things I brought around today is my first communion certificate, but I still have it in pieces. My medals, the medals in those days were very poor looking because we never had much money. So I brought those along for you to have a look at. And another thing I wanted to talk about were the boarders, the boarding school here. It was quite a number of them, and one in particular, as Mrs. Buckley was saying, at the Corpus Christi procession, one of the boarders was called Elaine Easton. And Elaine was a boarder here, and she was actually in the procession with the Children of Mary. And my sister was also there. And as we were getting closer to the schools when we had the procession, there was a bus coming up, and Elaine said to my elder sister, Mari, get out of the way, the bus is going to get you. She pushed my sister into a gully, and she went under the wheel herself. So I think the picture is still here of Elaine Easton. I haven't got one myself, but we never forgot that. Her funeral was here in the church. Elaine would have been yes. So there's some of the memories I've got, and then her mother adopted another girl called Rita, and Rita became quite a little devil. She was in my class, and we always had to get away from Rita because she would get us into trouble, because you don't have people like that today, do you? They don't do that. And I think they're memories that I've got, plus I had a cousin, and I actually put a little picture of her near I've got the borders, the dormitory. I've got a picture of the dormitory, and she was there because her father had been killed in the Centaur, which was a hospital ship, and Legacy, who do a wonderful job, paid for her to come and board here at Brigidine. So she knew all these different borders. And just the other thing before I go, I know I'm talking on different things to what the rest of you spoke about. My father was a bus driver, and Toowong, Taringa, St Lucia. And every year on St Patrick's Day we had a holiday, and we loved St Patrick's Day, didn't we? So my father was given the bus for the day to take all the sisters and the boarders and myself and another sister, Pauline, on the bus trip. So we went out on picnics with them every St Patrick's Day. So we waited all year for March the 17th to come around and wear our green, because the sisters had come from Ireland. So St Patrick was a very big thing, as well as St Bridget to them. So that was all very special. And I think getting back to music again, I learned music as well, and Mother Camilla's taught me. And you were speaking of Mother Borgia, and I remember quite well when Mother Borgia died, we were told that her body would be up in the chapel. If any of us would like to go up and say a prayer for her, we could. But they didn't tell us that the coffin was open. And of course, I was a smarty, I was going up, wasn't I? So I went up and we were told that we were not allowed to leave the chapel. Someone had to be there all the time. So I looked around and I thought, where's Jane Sutherland gone? Where's Kathy gone? There's no one here. And I was on my own. So what was the convent chapel then? They got the big windows. One window was open and I jumped out the window and I ran all the way home to Swan Road. And my mother said, "What's wrong with you?" I said, "They all left me with the dead body." And she said, "That's all right." She said, "You don't want to be afraid of the dead, it's only the living you have to worry about." And those three, Kathleen, Jane and Bernice Bugler, all become Brigidine sisters and are still in the order today. So I think apart from that, I think that's probably, I had great experiences, but I had a very sickly childhood. So I missed a lot of school, so it meant I wasn't as bright as a lot of the other students. No one's like that here though, are you? You don't miss school, of course you don't. Okay, so I think that's about it, but very, very happy memories, and this classroom, of course, just brings it all back. Thank you.
Thank you. And this is a little replica that Mrs. Shield made of the uniform that she wore at the time, a little blue tunic to go with the little blue, the white blouse underneath and the little shoulder bag with goodies in. And what did you wear on your feet?
Whatever shoes we could, because we didn't have much money in those days, and I think the school fees were 3 pence a week or 6 pence a week.
6 pence a week, 5 cents. That's 5 cents a week.
Every Monday morning we had to pay.
Well, when you passed the scholarship, I had a look at my and it was what you got for the next 2 years was £7 a year. So that was to cover your tuition. So it doesn't seem much.
Oh, and Norma is wearing her school badge.
I'm not sure, I think it has Brigidine on it.
It does,
There,
yes.
but now not ours.
Oh, was it?
Finis coronet opus, the end crowns the work.
Wow. So I wonder when the motto changed to Fortiter Suaviter, strength and gentleness.
Yeah, by the time they changed it to bring it into line with the other Brigidines who
Oh, okay.
thousands and all.
Yes. Oh. Now, girls and boys, does anyone have any questions that are burning in their minds about what was life like school days? Stella, big loud voice. Did you have homework?
Oh, yes.
Times haven't changed. Ashton? Who was the principal? I think a few nuns were principals, and we heard Mother Borgia.
No,
Oh, she was
Mother Lawrence.
Mother Lawrence,
And Mother Jared.
Mother Jared.
They were the two when I was in primary school. And Mother Claire and Mother Claire.
Finn? Was it fun at school?
At times. Sometimes it was very serious. Other times it was real fun. And we did have fancy dress balls. I forgot to mention that. Yeah, we had fancy dress balls. We used to walk all the way down to Stanford.
So they used to have fancy dress balls and walk all the way down to Stanford Hall, which is past the railway station. All up? How much homework did you have to do? So an hour a night or maybe More than an hour a night? Gigi? So on St Patrick's Day, what else did you do on the picnics?
Oh, we had concerts as well, St Patrick's Night concerts, and they were a big affair. That was more of a parish thing because we had singers and performers, and the school choir would sing, and that was always a big night too, St Patrick's Night concerts. I don't remember them. All right. Yes.
Emma Barry? So what kind of subjects did you study at school?
Well, we had English and mathematics and history and geography. We didn't have any science subjects in those days. Music and art of speech and singing was a big thing we enjoyed. But I think they were mainly the subjects, weren't they? Just the basics.
Anna? Did you have the catechism?
Oh yes.
Oh, yes.
The green catechism, yes.
You know the world,
We learned that off by heart.
Okay. So how long did you stay at school? Do you mean what time did they start in the morning to what time did they finish in the afternoon?
We went in at 9 o'clock till about 3 or 3:30. Yes.
About the same time. And Oscar? Did you ever have school camps? Couldn't afford it.
we were there during the war years. So during the war you weren't allowed to go out in your areas and so forth. I think we weren't allowed to go to school for Sunday to week.
Yes, at a short time, the school was closed.
And we might have 3 more questions. You've been a very good audience, but I know that you'll be ready to stretch your legs soon. Ella, Amy? Oh, so how many people were in your classes, class size? Because that's, I was imagining when you were saying year 7 was in that room. So how many students would have been, for instance, in year 7? Okay, so about 8, and yeah. But basically, the whole school was in this building. So, oh, the preppies. Okay, further down. Okay, sorry, Ella, what then?
Yes, it is. Once a week. Once a week, yes. Mothers would come and they would make cakes and bring them along, and we'd have that on the end of the veranda. Yes.
Let me see. Aurelia? Angelica?
Did you have houses as in like the Parish and Chanel?
Good question. So we have houses here. So there's red house Chanel, green Decorays, blue Damien, yellow Delaney. No. Okay. And Katrina. Did you go swimming?
We went to Toulon. There was a very small public bath at Toulon near the station there. And,
Did you get the train to Toulon?
probably,
Yes.
I would think so. And then we had a teacher there who taught us.
Yes. And actually, but I think one of the photos in the book there was people swimming under the Indrapilli Bridge at the beach at Chelmer?
Yes.
No. No, just on the weekend. That's right. Well, my dad, yes, and his 6 brothers used to swim in that river. Yes. Okay, and
I've also got along
oh,
at Christmas time. This one's 1943. At Christmas time, we were given each year a little book to take home. It's the one I got. It's called Lopsy. It's still going today, so it's very, very old. And this one I got as a prize. I don't know what it's called. The Castaways of Disappointed Island. So that was a little thing she looked forward to at Christmas.
lovely. So I've got so many wonderful questions from everyone. Ella, did you use typewriters and ink pens?
At high school, Mother Ignatius, who taught me in my first year here in the primary school, she taught me in my first year at high school, and she taught us shorthand and typewriting.
And at primary school, did you use pencil and paper, or did you use a slate? Or
Slate.
yes. 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 Paper and ink in the inkwell. Yes. Charlotte. Oh, any after-school activities? So tennis or netball, or I suppose, as the ladies all said, music was a big part of school here. The nuns taught singing and dance, piano, and that's very much a part of our school culture today. That's a legacy of the nuns, I think, is that we really do celebrate the arts, visual art, performing arts, singing and dancing. And we have a little concert every year called Holy Family Idol, where all the children showcase their talents. So it is very much alive. That the sisters would be glad to know that the arts live on. Yes. And one more question from Aaron.
Has anything changed around here? Anything in buildings? Lots or only a few?
So is there a lot of changes? Yes.
Because the grotto was down where this school is at the moment, the original grotto, and I think we've got a photo of it here somewhere. But I believe the actual stones
Moved up to Bridget. Yeah.
So that was used for a lot of photos we had taken on First Communion photos and that, although through board and try photos with no cameras. That was where all of that was, and all our playgrounds, that area which is your school now.
So, girls and boys, sometimes when you've gone up to swimming perhaps or over to cross country, you might have noticed the grotto in the grounds of Bridgetine College. So it's like a little cave built of stones. I have to explain what it is. And there's a statue of Mary and St. Bridget praying to Mary. And so that was actually, so those year 2 and 1 classrooms were not here when these ladies went to school. This was the school, this building, and another area for prep. But, so that was playground down there, or open space, and the grotto was just down there, but they took it apart and put it back up in Bridgetine College. So those stones have been here, and in memory of the very first principal of Bridgetine, Sister Bridget, Mother Bridget. So,
I was a bit worried about starting school, and my mother had mentioned this to Mother Bridget, and she said, oh, let her come up and sit with me and talk on the veranda of the convent. And so that's what happened, and she taught me little poems and conversed with me, and she was so kind. It was wonderful.
And so we have been very lucky here at Holy Family School, Bridgetine College, that we got such a lovely order of nuns, of sisters from Ireland, and they really did live by that motto of strength and gentleness. So they would have had to operate in very tough times on very little money and through the war years, but they wanted to make sure that children got the best education, and children who didn't particularly want to come to school, they were very gentle and kind and encouraging to them, and so then the children did enjoy coming to school, so that's wonderful. And we are so appreciative of you coming along today to share those memories, and thank goodness we've captured it on film. We will, if you wouldn't mind, we'll take some photocopies of your photos and we can blow them up and we can share those around to the classes to have a look at, because they must be treasured memories for you. We'll take care of them when we're photocopying. But we have got a little thank you gift. Stella, would you mind just standing up, and behind you on the bench is a little pile of... We did up a recipe book, Holy Family School recipe book, and on the front cover it's a book, and the publishers made it up. Someone asked me this morning, is that a real book? Where is that book? And I said, no, I remember Mother Matthew. She was a big part of when I came here to school, and she loved cooking and taught home ec and got us all making things for fates and raising money for Easter raffles, and those marshmallow bunnies were the best. And so her name, Mother Matthew, is on the front. But, and we've got a Holy Family pen here for you. But Bunny, we'll give you the pink wrapping because you're the most wise in the group. Thank you very much for coming today and sharing with us. And we did have a gift for Mrs. Morrissey. So I don't know if you would like to pass that on to her. Thank you. So tell her we're sorry she wasn't feeling well, and maybe, another time we'd love to.
Yeah, we do give students some photos there. We do try to go and meet once a year. We just have coffee together. And Sister Penny, who was Cat here, she used to come up, but she's not the one.
Oh.
It's every day.
Yes, that's great.
We started to do in 1965, and it went to different editions, but then
Well, I know if the school started in 1928, there'll be a centenary coming up, or a certain anniversary coming up in a couple of years' time. How many years will the school be in 2018? Not quite 100. 100 years from 1928 would be 2028. What would it be, Jordan? 90. So I'm sure that coming up to the 90-year celebration, there'll be a call out to all any past students, and we'd love to catch up with any who couldn't make it today. Girls and boys, a big round of applause for our ladies. And they've been a great audience, haven't they? Wonderful questions. So we better let them get back down, stretch their legs and do a bit more maths and English.